When you're a kid, having a goldfish seems like the perfect pet. No barking, no walking, no claw marks on your couch, just a shiny little buddy swimming peacefully in a bowl on your desk. What could go wrong? Well, a lot, because no one tells you that life in a tiny bowl is basically prison. No space to move, barely enough oxygen to breathe, nothing to stimulate their little goldfish brains. Just endless circles in murky water, until one day you wake up and they're floating upside down, and everyone wonders what went wrong. This is not the adorable, carefree pet you think it is. This is why it sucks to be a goldfish in a tiny bowl. You probably thought goldfish are made for bowls. After all, they sell bowls right next to the goldfish at pet stores, right? But here's the truth. Goldfish are actually carp, a hardy river fish meant to roam lakes, streams, and big ponds. Putting one in a tiny glass bowl is like locking a marathon runner in a porta potty forever. That cute little orb on your counter. It's not a home, it's a death trap. Bowl life stunts their growth. Sure, they stay small, but that's not because they're happy or healthy. It's because their organs are slowly failing. In the wild, or in a proper tank, goldfish can grow up to a foot long and live over a decade. In a bowl, they often die within months, small, sickly, and stressed. So the next time you see a goldfish swimming circles in a little orb of doom, don't smile, feel bad, because they sure do. Here's the science. Goldfish breathe through their gills, extracting oxygen from the water, which means they need well-oxygenated clean water to survive. Now picture their bowl, no filter, no circulation, barely any surface area for oxygen exchange. And because goldfish are messy little creatures, constantly pooping, stirring up debris, the water turns toxic fast. So your poor little buddy is basically holding his breath between gulps, trying to survive in what's essentially a stagnant puddle of his own filth. Imagine being locked in a smoggy bathroom you can't leave, and you're forced to drink the water. Not so cute now, huh? People love to say goldfish are dumb. You've probably heard that 3-second memory myth, right? Well, that's just to make you feel better about keeping them in a bowl, because goldfish can actually remember things for months. They can learn tricks, navigate mazes, and even recognize their owners' faces. That's right, they know you. So when you drop them into a bare, featureless bowl with nothing to do but swim in circles, that's not peace and quiet. That's mind-numbing boredom. It's solitary confinement for one of nature's chillest, most underrated little geniuses. Imagine you're that fish. You wake up in cloudy water. You swim to the top, but there's no food yet. You circle the bowl over and over, watching the same blurry wall, the same blinking light. A loud bang, footsteps, shadows across the surface. You panic, darting to nowhere. You calm down. You float, you wait, you poop, and your waste floats past your face like a dirty cloud. You dive, you drift, you circle again. There's no rock to hide behind, no plant to explore, just walls. And when food finally comes, it's a flake, maybe two, sometimes nothing. The water gets warmer, then colder. Sometimes the bowl gets cleaned, sometimes not. No friends, no change, no space. Just you and the glass, every single day. Here's the silent tragedy of it all. Goldfish can't bark, meow, or whimper. They can't scratch at the door or whine when something's wrong. So when they're sick, when the water's toxic, when they're literally suffocating, they just keep swimming until they can't. And that's why so many people don't even notice they're suffering. A goldfish won't beg for help. They'll just fade, stop eating, get pale, hang near the surface, all silent signs of distress that most pet owners miss completely. By the time you realize something's wrong, it's often too late. Not because you didn't care, but because no one ever taught you to notice. You'd think pet stores would educate you, right? But no, the system is designed for you to fail. They sell you the fish, the bowl, the cheap food, and when it dies in a few weeks, you just buy another. Repeat customers. That's the business model. They don't tell you goldfish need 20 gallons of water, not 2. They don't mention filtration, water testing, or ammonia levels, because if they did, you might think twice. And so the cycle continues. Impulse buy, tiny bowl, early death, repeat. Goldfish aren't disposable, but that's exactly how they're treated. Living in a bowl is stressful. The water quality swings wildly. One day, too hot, the next too toxic. There's nowhere to hide, no place to escape. Chronic stress weakens their immune systems, leaving them open to infections, fungus, and diseases that turn them into floating ghosts before you even notice what's happening. Goldfish can live 10-15 years if properly cared for, but in a bowl, you're lucky if they make it past their first year. And that 3-second memory thing, yeah, that was just invented to make people feel less guilty about watching their pets slowly wither away. Perhaps the cruelest part, goldfish aren't even treated like living creatures half the time. They're treated like decor, just another centerpiece for your kitchen counter, right next to your fake flowers and scented candles. But here's the thing. They feel pain, stress, and discomfort just like any other animal. You wouldn't stuff a cat in a shoebox or keep a dog in a closet. So why treat a goldfish like a disposable decoration? When you put a goldfish in a bowl, you're not just a pet owner. You're a warden, and your prisoner doesn't even get parole. But here's the good news. It doesn't have to suck. If you care enough to upgrade their life, goldfish can be amazing pets. Start with a proper tank. At least 20 gallons per goldfish, more if you can. Install a good filter, test the water regularly, and add plants, gravel, and hiding spots. You'll see your little buddy actually thrive, growing bigger, swimming stronger, and even showing a little personality. Because when you treat your goldfish right, they can live long, happy, fulfilling lives. But if you keep them in a tiny bowl, you're just speeding up their trip to fishy heaven. Goldfish deserve better. They deserve space, care, and respect, not a watery death sentence in a glass bubble. So, if you've got one in a bowl right now, do them a favor. Upgrade. And if you've ever wondered why your goldfish didn't last, now you know. This has been Why It Sucks to Be a Goldfish in a Tiny Bowl. Shout out to all the little swimmers who deserved better, and to all the pet parents who take the time to learn and do better. You're the real MVPs. If you like this brutally honest take, hit that like button, drop a comment about your pet fails, and don't forget to subscribe for more truth bombs about the world of pets, people, and professions. This is Why It Sucks. See you next time.